before we get into the Q&A, we have some really exciting announcements that we want to talk about of things that you're going to be able to see in terms of events this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with Heaveness.
Okay, hello again, everyone. I'm here to announce my upcoming event, and it is called A Trip to Wonderland, and you'll be able to experience this on January 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you may be wondering, well, what is there to do at this event? There will be a custom area that is built to make you feel like you're actually in Wonderland. You'll have like giant flowers, the Mad Hatter's house, etc. And also you'll be able to experience a rose painting game, which will be exactly like the movie where Alice paints the roses before the Queen of Hearts sees. You'll be able to walk around the event area and paint all of the rose bushes from white to red. I hope to see you all there. I'm super excited. Again, that is on January 30th. And yeah, there'll be plenty more to do. So make sure you come and check it out.
Awesome. I'm really excited for you guys to see that event. We've been working on the area since like December, and it looks absolutely incredible. You guys are going to love it. I'm now going to announce our second weekend-long event of 2021, which we held in February. And it is going to be the Festival of the Arts. Unlike last year's festival, we're putting a heavier focus on other parts of the on another big part of the Festival of the Arts, which is theater. We're working really hard behind the scenes to make sure we can bring this event to life. And one of the components of the event that I'd like to announce today, which has been rumored for quite some time, and I'm here to confirm it, we are going to be bringing back the widely popular End of Summer Jam, but this time it will be titled End of Winter Jam. It will be premiering during the Festival of the Arts, and you'll be able to sing along to some of your favorite Disney tunes in 4 show-stopping acts that include everything from quick changes to jaw-dropping set changes, floating lanterns, stunning acrobatics, and so much more. We can't wait to share more details on the Festival of the Arts with you within the coming weeks, and hope to see you all at the event in February.
Okay, hello. I'm here to tell you guys about an event that is going to be happening sometime in February. It's called An Afternoon in the 100-Acre Woods, and it's going to be a short event themed around the Winnie the Pooh series of movies and books. I'm not going to reveal everything to you yet, but one of the things you have to look forward to is Christopher Robin's Honey Expedition, which is an original ride in which you'll join Christopher Robin on the hunt for honey for his best friend Pooh. There's also going to be mini games, and you might even see some familiar faces, so make sure you come.
Okay, hi everybody. So myself and Disney Freak are going to be talking at another larger scale event that will take place in March this year. This event is called Pixar Week.
This event is going to be themed around all your favorite Pixar films, although for this event, we're going to be introducing something new, never used before for an event. We're going to be introducing the Event Hub.
Okay, so the Event Hub. This is something we've never used before for events. It's something kind of new for 2021. And it'll also be in some of the other larger scale events later in the year, which I had to wait on for those. So first of all, how it's going to work. The Event Hub is going to be an area hosted in the event server, which will be available to all guests throughout the event, from the start of the week to the end. What will be included in it? The Event Hub's going to be obviously in the area. There'll be lots of things themed to Pixar, and whatever the Event Hub is themed to, that's what will be inside it. There'll be lots of things from games, activities, to photo ops, and I'm not going to quickly talk about the specific films which will be in here, but we do want to rumor something. We're going to be seeing a lot of some of Pixar's new films, Onward and Soul, in the Event Hub. Okay, now I'm going to pass it back to Disney for something else.
We are very excited to bring something completely amazing to the server. This was absolutely spectacular when I saw it first in person, and I think that all our guests will love it as much as I do. We will be bringing the Paint the Night Parade to our server. I'm very excited for this, and I just know that all of you will enjoy it as much as I did when I first saw it in the parks. The show timetable will be updated closer to the date.
Okay, and going back to something else of Pixar Week, we're going to talk about some cosmetics. So, as you know, currently in the Magic Band and also on the store, we have lots of Pixar-themed cosmetics as much as other Disney ones. We have like the Toy Story bundle, we have the Wally and Eve ones, we have lots of different ones and variations. Although, for Pixar Week, we are planning to debut some new cosmetics. So, we're not going to reveal what they are yet, but there'll be some new Pixar cosmetics debuting later at the event.
Also, during this amazing event, you will be able to see some of your favorite Pixar characters during this. We'll have our traditional meet and greets where you'll be able to take pictures and get your autograph book signed, along with walk-around meet and greets to explore the parks. So keep an eye out on Discord and character alerts and on the server during this event.
Okay, that's just about everything we have for Pixar Week, but we cannot wait to reveal more about this event soon. So make sure to keep an eye on our social media pages and Discord for more information on how to bring the Pixar fun we're going to bring into in March. But we have one last surprise. For those of you who are on Discord, if you go to the panel discussion channel, we're going to be posting a photo of one of the Paint the Night floats which has been done. So that will be posting any second now. And that is now in Discord.
Awesome. Pixar Week is going to be absolutely incredible. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Before we start our Q&A, Sophie has a really quick, very cool announcement.
I'm going to pretend like we saved the best for last, but if you can't tell, this team is awesome, so they already have probably the far better things announced. But just in case all of my people who love USO out there were a little bit worried that we don't have a USO event, we are actually going to hopefully be bringing, by sometime in March, a Harry Potter event to the server. We don't know, we haven't really fully planned it out yet, but the Harry Potter event will be coming back, and I can definitely promise that we will have more USO events coming in the future, so don't worry.
Yeah, definitely. And once this panel ends, there's going to be an expo hall that's going to open on the other side of the panel hall. And that will include a bunch of different walkthroughs of all of the events we announced. So you're going to see some things from Festival of the Arts, Pixar Week. You're going to see things from the 100 Acre Woods, A Trip to Wonderland, and the Harry Potter event. And there's even going to be some food from the events that you guys are going to be able to try. So I highly recommend checking that out once the panel ends. All right. So I think we're now ready to begin our Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, you should be able to join the queue in just a few moments down there. You'll also be able to put some questions in panel discussions if you'd like. And we'll go ahead and answer those. Hello, Sorcerer Andrew. What was your favorite event to run of 2020? Let's go ahead and start with Disney Freak, and then we'll go down the
My favorite event that I hosted, honestly, or of all, honestly, was actually before I became an event coordinator. It was my first event ever. It was the Brave event, a Brave celebration. I had so much fun helping Creator and Pink put this event together. They helped me so much and guided me, which led to me becoming an event coordinator. So that was honestly my favorite one.
For my favorite event, there's quite a lot, but I think some which take a special place in my heart would be Big Hero Bash, as those of you who here will know the amount of stuff we packed into that event. It was insane. We'd never really done like a scale of that much stuff in a small event before, so I definitely love Big Hero Bash. Although I do have to say my favorite overall is Halloween Horror Nights, as I love that event so much. That's all for me.
I'm also going to have to say an event that I ran before I was coordinator, Cinderella's Royal Dinner. That event holds a special place in my heart. Disney Freak helped me out with that. Yeah, I just really enjoyed hosting that, and seeing you all enjoy that made me so happy. So yeah, that's all from me.
Mine was probably the very first Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party in 2019. Mainly because it was my first event. Your first event is kind of always your favorite. But that was always a lot of fun, and I love running Run Palaces. They're always like so much fun to just interact with and see everyone, seeing like the maps. Oh, the question was of 2020. Well, that was 2019. So 2020 would be the Run Palace we did recently. That was really good as well.
For me, it's going to have to be End of Summer Jam, just because I really love designing theater shows, and the fact that I got to design something like End of Summer Jam made me really happy, and I enjoyed every single second of it, even though it was pretty stressful at times.
Mine would have to be working on Very Merry Christmas Party this year, which was, I obviously got hired in November, so it was my first event that I worked on, and I had such a good time. I did Arendelle in that area, and I loved doing it, and I think it was just really exciting to see everybody enjoying it, since it was like my first thing that I did.
So likewise to Sarah, my first event was Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and so I am kind of biased that is my favorite event. I end up working on a little bit of Arendelle with Sarah, but primarily working on a lot of the area around it, and I also was in charge of Frozen Thunder Mountain, or I don't know whatever we ended up calling it. We kind of went back and forth with the name. Sorry, Elsa's Coronation Crisis was also a name, and I think Journey into the Unknown. We can never decide on one.
I think it was the day before that we figured out, like, we're
We were
gonna have to
arguing.
call it something that's not Frozen Thunder
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yeah, the entire events team had to vote on it.
Yes.
Okay, Travmax Fun Gaming asks, will there be another Star Wars event or a Mandalorian themed event?
I can take this one if you guys want. There will be Star Wars this year. Can't say too much about it, but there will be Star Wars this year. For sure, maybe in May. We'll definitely have Star Wars. And Mandalorian is a big part of Star Wars now, so I can tell you that if there's Star Wars, there'll be Mandalorian.
All right, looks like we have our next person with a question. X Cheesy Arts X. For one event, how long does it take? And is there a command box to use, and how many roughly, if you know? I guess I can take this one since it's asking about, I guess, some of the tech. It really depends. It depends on the event in terms of how long it takes. For End of Winter Jam, for example, that one has been in the works since October. Not actively, but it's been in the works since October of 2020. And then things like Very Merry, that started, we started getting ideas for that at the beginning of November. And then it took about a month or so to build everything. In terms of tech, a lot of the things we do at events will actually be through show files, just because we can more accurately time things at events, and especially with lag, the timing systems usually get messed up. So typically we don't actually use very many command blocks at events. Yeah. Next question.
Luigi Alex, this is maybe a question for Sophie, but also for me. Will there be houses at our Harry Potter event, i.e., will you be able to get sorted into your Hogwarts house?
I mean, I definitely would want that to end up happening. I'm someone, I think most people know that I am actually a Ravenclaw, so I'm someone who definitely is very involved and definitely really likes my house. And I think that would definitely be a really cool idea to kind of work that in, or maybe even somewhat of a sorting process. So I definitely, obviously we'll need to talk more about it, but I 1000% would love to have everyone be able to go into their own house or be involved or connect with other people on the server who are in their house. As I've seen, some of you already are connecting in the chat with each other's houses.
All right, looks like we have Alyssa Blaze, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, with a question. Was there an event you guys planned / wanted to run but couldn't? Let's see. Does anyone want to take this? I know there's been a few.
I'm like thinking off the top of my head. I kind of planned like a slumber party in MK event where we all would be chilling in pajamas and watching movies in Magic Kingdom. But we do a lot of Discord movie nights. So it kind of just felt like we can all watch a movie on Discord as well. Pajama Jam, that was the name of it, yeah. So that kind of never came to the server, but you can still watch movies on the Discord and join us in those ways. So it didn't really go away. It just came to light in a different way.
Another one I just thought of was Villains After Hours. It was actually at Pal16 last year that we announced Villains After Hours, but unfortunately, everything changed and the player numbers went up really quickly, and unfortunately, we had to move most of the resources working on that event to other events so we could keep you guys entertained, because Villains After Hours was taking a large amount of resources. And there were still technologies that we wanted to use at that event that weren't perfected, especially when there's like 100 people on. It just wouldn't work. But who knows? Maybe we're working on Villains After Hours this year. Who knows?
Who knows? We have a question from Red Orange Star, which says, first of all, I love HHN, so shout out to Panic and the HHN team for that. Their question is, do we think there'll ever be a Disney history event, so somehow incorporating the history of Walt Disney and the parks into an event?
I guess I can take this one. Oh no, Tris, you take it.
Yeah, I can take that. So I am a huge fan of Disney history and the history of the parks, and I definitely can tell you there's nothing that is currently in the pipeline, but I can tell you that I would love to bring an event like that to the server. So I think that is definitely something that we could bring in the future.
And one thing I would like to note, we have a feedback form that goes out at the end of every event. If you have ideas, put them there, because that is most of the time where we look. Or you can also put them in community feedback, and a lot of the times we'll take those ideas into consideration. But it may take some time for you to actually see those ideas on the server. But I promise you, like when you fill out feedback forms, we look at them. That's why it's really important to fill them out. Okay, we have another question from, hang on, I can't see their full name. Minocraft21. Oh, no. Mima Scott 02. For the Paint the Night Parade, are you going to use the new, I think you mean the motion capture system instead of armor stands? I think maybe Panic can take this. I don't know if Panic knows.
I don't think I know that.
Okay, I can take it. We don't have plans to do that currently. That's up to the shows and tech team as to how they want to handle that. Good question, though.
There's been a couple of questions regarding characters like Shrek and SpongeBob and USO characters, and if they could be the center of events in the future. And I think Sophie, like Sophie said, she's definitely looking at more USO things if she wants to talk about that.
I definitely am looking into a lot of USO things. As I think some of you know, and I already know, my partner is about to scream in the chat for this one. I actually sponsor the Simpsons ride, so I've always been thinking about trying to work in something with the Simpsons. Also, same thing with SpongeBob. I think SpongeBob or Shrek or these other big movies, or as creator parks would love, like a minion event. I definitely am going to in the future work on having a USO event.
I would love a minion event. Next, we have a question from Cowboy Panda. Are there going to be any special events for new areas like G or Pandora? Maybe Pink can take this one?
Yes, is the answer to your question. There's no great details that we can share. It really just depends on when things open and how we go about them, but yes is the answer to your question.
I will say for the Galaxy's Edge launch, there's going to be a large portion event that's actually going to happen before the event actually happens. So there's going to be a lot of things you guys can do to, get hyped, especially on Discord. So we can't wait to share those details with you once the Galaxy's Edge opening is announced.
We had a question for, this would be for Lizzie and Sarah, that your ideas for an Alice and a Winnie the Pooh event are really, really cute. And how did you guys come up with those ideas?
I'll start. I try to pick events based off of movies that I really love, and Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland I both grew up watching, and also I just thought that it was time that we had an Alice event on the server.
Similarly for me, I've always been a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. I grew up going to Disneyland and I love the Winnie the Pooh ride. And I actually also had a Winnie the Pooh themed nursery as a child. And so it's been a huge part of my life, and they're like my favorite Disney characters. And so when I got asked to do a event for February, I knew that I wanted to pay homage to my favorite Disney movie.
Awesome. Okay, so we have our next question from Magical Fox 10.
If you're typing your question, that's okay. We can do one in between. Someone asked, will there be any more Marvel events in the future?
I would definitely like to see one. Sorry, Panic, but I just want to say that.
If you guys would like more Marvel stuff in the future, I think that's definitely something that we can look into and we can add onto our long, ever-growing list of events. Panic, do you have something to say on that?
Yeah, I just want to quickly add, it's definitely something we can look into in the future. Although I don't want to specifically talk about this year. I know a lot throughout this year. Lots of different Marvel series, films, sequels are being released. So I don't think there's a lot we have planned for this year, but definitely in the future we can see a lot more Marvel things.
All right, so Magical Fox asked, I'm a big fan of Palace Network, but at least still a fan. I wonder if there'll be any Palace Award event or something like that. To answer your question, yes, there will be another Palace Awards that will take place in November during our anniversary. I don't know if you guys remember the Palace Awards from the Pride, what was it? Pride Month? I don't know why I couldn't think. That was in June. We're going to do kind of the same thing like that. The Palace Awards is going to be something that will hopefully happen every year in November.
I think that was all our Discord questions. But I have a question for all of you, and it was, what was the first event you attended as either a guest or as a staff member on Palace? Start with you, Disney Freak.
My first event that I attended as a guest mainly, and what basically kind of just drew me into wanting to be an event coordinator. I took many breaks coming on as a guest for over the years, and the one when I officially came back to like fully dive back into Palace was the Lion King event summer of 2019. I absolutely loved it, and then so yeah, that was my first event.
It's like the only one I actually prepared for, so I took it the other day. But the first event I attended as a guest, I think, was in May 2018, which was a day at Disney, which was basically full of going around Magic Kingdom. Well, this one was specifically on Magic Kingdom, going through some rides, the shows, the characters, and this also had a lot of backstage tours. But it's a little fun fact here. Then kind of influenced me to do Backstage Magic, which was the first event I ever did. Not my best event either, but we won't talk about that.
My first event as a guest was the Shamrock event that happened last March, March 2020, which was like when the player count started to like get super crazy and like when everything started to shut down. So I just remember it being super laggy. So yeah, that was my first experience as a guest.
I'm looking at Creator as you said that because I remember running that event, me and you, back in, when's that, March? Wow. My first event as a guest was the very first Pirate and Princess party, which must have been in January of either 2018 or 2019, I think was my very first one I can remember.
I think I've been here for longer than all of you, so mine is kind of crazy. The first event that I can remember was probably the MC Magic anniversary. I think it might have been the second year, which was in 2014. Really long time ago.
I came on the server a lot in like 2014, 2015, but I do not remember like anything from those 2 years, just in general. But my first event this year as a guest was a Wookiee weekend, because school was starting to wind down and I didn't really have anything to do for the summer, and the event was announced and I was like, I love Star Wars, I'm gonna go to this event, and I really, really liked it. And it got me excited about the events team. So.
I won't lie, I'm still thinking. I don't really remember what my first event was. I'm going to say I think it probably was the Pride event back in June. I'm gonna say I think that parade that we had at the end of the month was probably like the first event that I really went to. But the first event that really got me excited or involved, I think, in the events team was probably Mickey's Not So Scary this past year, because Pink also kind of like opened me up to even just like how the event was created and kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes, and it just got me really engaged, and I really loved how creative everyone was with the whole creation process. But I did love Run Palace during Pride, and I loved even just the Pride event overall, because I think still Pride Month on Palace is my favorite.
Awesome. Okay, so it looks like we have a question from Hannah. Is there going to be more stuff like Bob's Bugs Be Gone and Springboard because they were proper rat?
This is a Cubits question.
Yes.
Yeah, where's Cubits?
Where is Cubits? He'll know the answer.
Cubits just rise out of the crowd, please.
How Bob's Bugs came around was Cubits literally said, if I make a ride in less than 3 hours, can you put it in Mickey's Not So Scary? And I said yes. And that is honestly how Bob's Bugs Be Gone came around. So he says there's going to be lots more. We'll hold him to it and see how he does.
I maybe just go to the tech panel, I think, later on to hear more.
J3137 asks, will there ever be a Disney Cruise Line event? I remember one was announced, but I don't think it ever happened.
I think the one that you might be referring is Aloha Summer. That one did happen, and it was in June. We don't have any Disney Cruise Line events that are currently scheduled, but that is definitely something that we can look into doing at some point this year. Oh, next question is from Laughing Tar. Do you have any plans for a Jurassic Park event? It's my favorite movie, and I would love to see the return of the raptor encounter. Sophie?
No, but now we definitely are. I'm gonna definitely take that in because I'm so sorry, I forgot about Jurassic Park. I mean, now as soon as you said that, now the light bulb went off in my head. So stay tuned is all I can say. I don't know how much. Pink, how are you scared of dinosaurs?
They're terrifying. How can you not be scared of dinosaurs? I don't understand.
They are what came before you. You have to give them some respect.
They still exist.
No, I feel that. I agree with you, Pink.
Thank you. Someone has sense.
Pink's also afraid of frogs, so let's not even discuss that. But anyways, I definitely could see that happening now in the future. I think in general, there's a lot that we can do with USO. There's so many areas that we could explore with events, like even just outside of the HHN or Harry Potter. So I definitely keep filling out those suggestion forms that we send out because I'm absolutely open to really going all out with a USO event sometime this year.
I just want to quickly add to that before we move on. Definitely, I think we want to do is add more USO events. And I think a property like Jurassic Park is definitely a good thing to do. And someone said something about this. I don't know if it was in chat. I can't remember. And it gave me another light bulb as well. Even though I don't think we'll be doing another custom HHN soon, a property like Jurassic Park could be a possibility for a custom Halloween Horror Nights. That's all I'm going to say for now.
This is terrifying panic.
Maybe we should just create a frog HHN house so you can go through it, Pink.
Yeah, exactly.
We could
have the Muppets feature in it.
We had to create
Pink's
a Muppet one
fears.
for Pink.
We need Muppets, frogs, and dinosaurs to scare Pink.
An entire HHN based on my irrational fears of frogs, the Muppets, dinosaurs.
Pink is just dreading the day that Random gets to start working on the Muppets because then she realizes she's gonna have to work on that. Yes, Pink is afraid of Muppets, for those who are saying in the chat. And as a Muppet sponsor, it breaks my heart. But feel free to visit the outside of the Muppets ride anytime because Pink is permanently stationed out there as an armor stand.
Okay, our next question is from Rocky Sullivan. He asks, are there any plans for holidays such as Easter, Valentine's Day, and St. Patrick's Day? Are there any? I think the creative team has some things in the works. I don't want to speak for them, but they might be. Oh, I think they announced this already. Hang on.
I think it's time for a Hanukkah event.
Let's do that.
Well, we did have Hanukkah ears in a Hanukkah area at MVMCP this year.
Yes.
Very true.
And I just checked, Creative did announce an Easter egg competition that's going to happen from March 1st to March 26th. So that is something that we have confirmed and will happen.
Someone is asking, do we plan on bringing DCA, I think I said that right, yeah, Disneyland DCA events to Palace once the parks are open? And I don't have a lot of experience in these events because I've only ever been once. So does anyone have ideas of those?
I can
I
take
would
this
love
as I.
that.
Oh,
I
sorry.
would love that. It's okay. But I just wanted to say that I would love a Disneyland event. I think
Same
that
here.
I would, yeah. I think whenever that opens, I would definitely want to plan something.
You
Yeah,
need both.
Disneyland and DCA both just have like the best events.
They really do.
And they just do such a good job over there. So I think we're all very excited to be able to bring the things that happen in real life in those parks to our parks here once they do open, but that'll be probably a little further down the road.
Okay, looks like we have another question from Slushilla, and they ask, oh, will the Harry Potter event be similar to the last one, or will there be some new things added? Sophie?
So as of right now, I definitely want some new things to be added. I can at least say a potential idea was to even, instead of last year's where it was more focused about just Hogwarts in general and Harry Potter, we were almost thinking of it initially, a very early idea was even thinking of it being based around the Weasley family and it just being more of like a Weasley kind of oriented event. But we are still, again, testing out ideas. I think there may even be the potential for a Flu network to be created. But a lot of this is still very much in the idea phase, and we probably in the coming weeks or so will have more ideas. So if you do, obviously, in the next couple of weeks have any questions about the event or even any suggestions of things that you may want to see, you can definitely feel free to DM myself or Pink or Creator, and we definitely can figure things out. But I think given also the recent surge of what I've even just seen on the internet and TikTok, I definitely want to expand on the overall storyline behind the event. Also, this wasn't part of the question, but whoever just said the 90s, I'm putting that down as we need to talk about that as an idea.
As long
Someone
as we
asked
add Goofy
about.
Goofy, I'll be good. Sorry,
Oh,
Pink.
that's a good one. That's okay. Someone asked about adding Broadway into events. So, Creator, do you want to share some things?
That is kind of what we're aiming for with Festival of the Arts. Nothing is set in stone, but we're working on creating some type. There's still one major event that we're missing. We don't know how we're going to tie it all together, but you're basically going to be able to kind of perform on stage, and you'll also be able to control the lights, and you'll be able to do these really cool effects on stage, and that's all going to be encompassed in one event, and that one event will have lots of Broadway music. Don't know how it's all going to tie together yet, but it will be it's going to be more than a dance party, basically, and that's why I don't want to call it a dance party. But yes, Broadway, yes, I love Broadway. We will be doing Broadway. Okay, looks like Epic Mickey Max has a question. Will Red, White, and Barbecue event happen again this year? Pink.
Can it, please? I want it to happen now.
That'd be cool.
I love that event. That event was very close to my heart because you and I kind of built it, mainly more you, but we built it based off of like a summer camp vibe, which is just what I love. And we tried to do some different stuff. So if you would like that event to return, that could definitely be a possibility for 4th of July. Yay, okay, people said yes. So I'll take that as good feedback and I will note that down. Maybe we can expand the area even more and do some more activities. That would be really fun.
Okay, looks like Solar Cycle has a question. Oh, how do you guys deal with burnout? Hang on. How do you guys deal with burnout on the server? Do you take long breaks? Or some... Hang on. Chat is moving so fast. Hang on. Okay. How do you guys deal with burnout on the server? Do you take... And it's gone again. Do you...
Trader, you want me to read it? I have it.
Yes, can you?
Solar Cycle asks, how do you guys deal with burnout on the server? Do you take long breaks or just take it or something other than those two?
Sophie?
I definitely think burnout definitely does exist on the server, especially on the events team, because events is very, as I realized after going into events is kind of never really stops. We're always consistently working, and we're always working with almost every single department on here. So we kind of help a lot to tie in everything that's going on. For me personally, I definitely have recently experienced a bit of burnout. So I think definitely taking a bit of a break can help. I think primarily also what helped, I think more is the better answer would be almost how we found ways to avoid the burnout. And that's definitely a lot with time management. Obviously, we're announced, as we just even saw today, we've been announcing events that are happening months from now. And we always are very good at planning ahead and making sure that we're on task for things so we can avoid the burnout. And also, I always have like a planner, and I always am taking notes, and I always try to get things done as soon as possible just to avoid everything piling up as once. Obviously, some burnout is inevitable at the end of the day, but I think our team is very good at collaborating with one another and almost also helping where, hey, if one of us does seem to be having a bit of some issues or feeling a bit burnt out, it's very easy for us to all step in and help take over for one another.
That was a very good answer, definitely.
There is a question which I'm going to direct to Career. Would there ever be a High School Musical themed event on the server?
Good question. I had a High School Musical event, or that was based off of High School Musical, the series, fully planned out. It's still fully planned out. I don't know if it's going to happen. A lot of the elements from that event are actually being put into Festival of the Arts. And I was initially thinking maybe the second major event at Festival of the Arts could be a High School Musical, the series event, but I don't think that's going to happen. That might still happen. I don't know. But that was definitely something that we thought of at one point. Abby2398V has a question. What made you guys go into the event side on the server? I guess we can all answer this. Sophie, if you want to start, and then we'll go down.
A more simpler answer would be pinkiness. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
I mean, you did definitely expose me to events, so thanks. But I think just more was, I think, the ability to really be creative. You know, I loved being a moderator, and I loved really working on the server and both the forums, but I felt generally sometimes that it was just difficult to find a lot of creativity, or I really wanted to, yes, shout out to the forums. Everyone, please go visit it. It was difficult to find areas to really express the ideas that I was having. And I know Sarah and I've talked about this also sometimes when we were both kind of applying into it. So I think almost just the ability to really be creative and just to work with such a really tight-knit and awesome team really definitely pushed us, at least pushed myself towards joining the events team. And then obviously pinkiness again, just pushing us in.
For me, so I think I really enjoyed over the summer and in the springtime of last year going to the events and dressing up for them and hanging out with my friends at them. And so when I joined the staff team, I sort of knew in the back of my mind that if there was one sort of area of the team that I wanted to be in, that I was really interested in, it was definitely events, because I loved doing them so much and I really loved seeing people enjoy them. And so when the time came to look at like what sort of teams I wanted to join, I was immediately gravitated towards events. Yeah, that was my reason, because I love them so much.
For me, partially it's also Pink. I was really good friends with Pink, and I still am really good friends with Pink. And she was obviously did a lot for events. And because of that, she asked me to help out with some things, and I absolutely loved it. Mainly because it was a really cool way to make you guys, the guests, happy through events, and I love making people happy. I love when people enjoy things that we put so much time into. And yeah.
First of all, thanks for seeing me, guys. Really appreciate it. What got me into events? I remember DMing a very old events coordinator in May of 2019, being like, how do I join the events team? I really want to work on events. I really want to be creative. And they were like, we don't really do that. We don't really hire new ones. And I was like, oh, well, there goes my ambitions. And then applications just opened, and I was like, I'm going to go for it. And I got it. It was actually our current director, Gage, who hired me when he was the events admin. But it was really just all down to, like, I love the creativity of events, and I love different movies and basing different games on things that give you inspiration. So that's honestly why I joined it, and I have no regrets, and I'm very glad that I inspired a lot of people to join it too.
For me, I think that I first got interested when I found out that mods could plan their own event, and so when I first got mod, I remember being so excited to be able to join the events team so I could start planning my own event, and it just kind of fit for me, it just made sense. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying, but it made sense for me.
For me, I think it goes back to when I first joined the staff team, but more specific, when I became a mod, because I joined the team in guest relations as a moderator, and there's so much stuff I want to do on the staff team. I do, other than events, I do a lot of stuff at the moment, but I wanted to be a part of so many different teams and do so many different things. But for me, I found I was very creative as well, which I'll come to in a second. But events team it kind of combined everything which I wanted to do in one. It's our own idea to get to create your own event, and even though it's extremely stressful at times, it's all about creating something from your ideas and your creativity, and there's so many different ways you can do that. That's probably why I became an events coordinator.
Behind my reasoning actually started with the opening of New MK. I just loved how the event was put together. It was way before I became a moderator on the server, and then I became a moderator, started helping out with events for Pink and Creator and an old event coordinator, Disney fan. And so I helped out constantly as soon as I became a staff member. And what really got me the ball rolling was I got to pitch my own event, and I was so excited, and I knew I wanted to be on the events team since New MK opened up, and Creator and Pink, like I said earlier, and also Disney fan kind of inspired me to constantly just keep trying and keep going at it. And so yeah, and I love being creative with them. I love bringing movies to life through an event, and I love bringing attractions to life through the events. So
Awesome. Looks like our next person with a question is coming up. We have Airman787, and they ask, if you could describe the events team in one word, what would it be? Feel free to explain why as well. I guess we can all answer this. Disney Freak, do you want to start?
stressful but fun. Sorry, that's 3 words, but stressful but fun.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was me. I mean, honestly, stress. No, I'm joking, but it is very stressful. I think we've already talked about this again, but just the word creative, because it is So like, because you're making something, I know, and like we obviously as a server, we create paths from something which already exists. Although for events, we get to create something completely different. So I think just creating your own ideas, that's what kind of comes into it for me.
Panic took the words right out of my mouth. I was also going to say creativity. Yeah, you just really gotta plan something special for the guests to enjoy. It takes a lot of creativity. It can be stressful, but at the end, it's very rewarding to see guests enjoy your event.
Cupcakes. That's my word.
Good choice.
Thank you.
This is gonna sound really strange, but I'd probably say everything, just because the events team does. We do a lot, and when you think about it, when it comes to an event, we're doing everything for event. We are finding builders and technicians for events. Sometimes we are building the events, and we are doing tech at the events. We're planning the events. So yeah, that's my word.
Okay, if I had to use one word to describe the team, I would say joyful, because I think that we are able to bring events that just make people happy. I think we got some really good feedback on like Very Merry, where people just felt like, last year was rough and people felt like the events that we, put on were able to just bring them something light in their life. So I would say joyful. And we also are a pretty joyful bunch. We get pretty excited.
Pig stole my answer, but I was gonna say cupcake cult.
Cupcakes are the best.
Creator has a really nice cupcake in front of him right now, actually.
Yes, I do. Looks like our next question comes from the crafty Batman.
Hi, Batman.
Hi, Batman.
She's holding a churro. I appreciate.
I see a lot of aspiring staff members here, which is great. If someone is interested in joining the events team as a staff member, what skills does it take to be successful? That's a great question. Maybe Pink and I can answer this. In terms of like a production standpoint, I'd say some basic knowledge in building and tech is always really helpful, because while we do have our own team of builders and technicians, it's a small team. And a lot of the times it's hard to kind of explain your ideas, and it's much easier to just, kind of make what you're trying to do. So yeah, building and tech skills, those are awesome. Pink?
So I don't have great building or tech skills, as everyone will know, but I am very creative and I'm exceptionally organized. So the fact that I don't have those skills, but I have the ambition to get out there and find people with those skills, is what you kind of need also. Like, I couldn't build or create any tech for my first event, but I reached out to Creator and I asked him for help. And that's how we're friends now, because like I tried that. So you need to have ambitions and creativity and organization, honestly. I know it's hard to be organized sometimes, but...
And connections too, because, if you don't know how to do something, you need to know who to ask.
Which is Creator. I ask him.
Our next question comes from DocBud. DocBud 2001.
I'm surprised you've said all these names so well this whole time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are we? We're all pretty good. I think we're all pretty chill.
Excited to be here.
We're getting a very special guest to come and ask us our last question. He's making an
He's stuck
entrance.
up there.
He's making an entrance.
What's he doing up there?
All right, so Actual asks, if there is one thing you could change about events, what would it be? I guess we can all answer this. Sophie, do you want to start?
Can we start with the other end first?
Sure. Actually, if you guys want, I can start. Probably, I mean, I'd love to have more builder and technicians resources so we can do bigger and better things. And I think it would take the stress off of a lot of us, because most times we're the ones who have to do build and tech, because, you know, we only have so many builders and technicians.
I would love to hear some more feedback from anyone who attends our events.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we send out a feedback form usually throughout every event, and I get that like people are busy and they're in queues and meeting characters, and sometimes they don't have time to write out feedback. But even DMing us saying like, this is a part of the event I really enjoyed, or this part was kind of laggy for me, could this be fixed? That really helps us take the feedback and work on future events, because at the end of the day, if we don't hear feedback, then we don't know what you guys want to see in the future. So please let us know of any feedback for events that you have, and always fill in the feedback forms when we send them out.
Totally. And to add to that, we don't do events for staff members. We do events for you guys. So at the end of the day, if you guys aren't enjoying the events, you need to let us know so we can fix that for the next event.
At first I did not have anything, because I think that the events team is great as it is. But I think that I would have to agree that feedback, just because I think that it's really important to me, like knowing that you guys enjoyed a certain aspect of an event, and just improving events so that you guys enjoy them even more.
I think, honestly, if I could actually change one thing, get rid of the stress. But I've made that joke way too many times on this panel, so I've got to move on. But one thing, honestly, would be, which is like we're kind of working on to do now, so I suppose it kind of counts, is to use different properties. So, I know early on we talked about using Broadway in Festival of Arts. I think using different things which aren't just keeping them, obviously we keep things a lot Disney-based and Universal-based. I think kind of branching out to different properties is something I like to do, which we're working
on. For me, I would actually say, also I agree with Panic, just and everyone else, just working on, more event builders and technicians. I think that would really help de-stress a little bit of our jobs. But of course, always that, de-stressing our jobs a little bit doesn't always happen. Because take Pink and Creator, for example, they're constantly working, even if, the rest of us are not. They're always behind the scenes working on everything else. And so just de-stressing a little bit.
So this is a bit more marketing, I guess, wise of events, but I would love to see us honestly utilize the forums more. You all know this was coming. Utilize the forums more for advertising out events. We've done a lot of that in the past, between making quizzes or doing interviews, or even just trying to find other ways to kind of promote the events. And I think I would definitely like to see more creativity on our end with kind of like using that or finding new cool ways to promote events. We even have potentially some photo pass opportunities coming out on the forum soon. And also from all of you out there in the audience, we would love to see, I guess, you guys interacting a lot more on the forums and with the events. Specifically, I think a lot of people enjoyed the quizzes that we came out with, along with kind of trying to help promote events. And I know Panic and I did a lot of this back when it was HHN, and we both loved working together and collaborating on that.
Okay.
Countdown the decade, sorry.
I think if I could change one thing about the events, it would be having more Navi River Journey representation. No, I'm just kidding. I think if I could change something, which can't really change it, but I would like to just have more time in the year or more people to help, because there's so many ideas that we have and that we'd like to bring, and there's always different things we want to add to events, but it takes a lot of time, as you guys have heard throughout the panel, from start to finish to get an event created and ready. And just having more resources, more people to help us out, I think would be better, and we'd be able to make each event just take it to the next level of exciting and fun.
Totally. Going back to the Navi River Journey thing, do you want to talk about a little Easter egg you hid in Arendelle?
Yes. So in Arendelle at MVMCP, underneath the staircase in the castle, there was a room where if you pressed a button, it would put Navi River Journey ears on you. There was another button that if you pressed it, it would send you the link to play the Navi River Journey audio in chat. And there was a third button that sent your username, likes Navi River Journey, and it's the best ride in Walt Disney World, into staff chat, which was really funny during the event when people would press it.
Okay. I think that's just about all the time that we have. Does anyone here have any final comments?
Thank you guys for coming to our panel.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you
Thank
all.
you guys for coming.
Thank you for
Thank you, everybody.